Got up just in time for that. It just started coming over the horizon there right as I was getting changed and getting dressed, and I hurried up and grabbed my camera. Sunrise just north of Elkona Dam on the Sable River. June, I don't remember. It's Tuesday though. I'm pretty sure it's Tuesday. And here we are, getting ready to load up all our gear and get moving. And I think I just decided I'm not even gonna make coffee right now. I'm just gonna get packed up and get going. Good morning to day 4. Alright, so I am back on the water. I've only been on the water for a couple of minutes, but I am entering Elkona Pond and Elkona County Campground. I knew my campsite was just right around the bend from it, but it's really unbelievable how close it was. That you're already coming up on some of the campers over here on the left. That is part of the East Primitive side. This is a section that this far back that I'm not incredibly familiar with. I'm not going to be able to film a whole lot right now because I'm going to have to probably worry about paddling a little bit. The water is very calm, but it's still, throughout these dam ponds, your current really doesn't take you that much. It's, if anything, it's the wind when the waves start coming in later in the days that really make things difficult for you, and they usually don't put you where you want to go. So that being said, I am going to get up or turn this off and get back to paddling. It's about 9:15. I just made it across the Elkona Dam Pond. It doesn't look too wavy over here, but back around the corner for the last couple miles before that, it really was. It started out calm, but it didn't last that long. It was a heavy wind, headwind, and they've kind of changed the from the last time I was here. You could pull up anywhere through here, and now it looks like they're got certain area roped off, so I was stuck pulling in directly here, which wouldn't have been a problem except for there are mounds and mounds of shit from some kind of animal scat and goose feathers. I do not believe that scat is goose, but I could be wrong. I think it's some other animal. There's more piles of it over here. But see, like that looks more like goose droppings. That and that does not. But either way, I'm going to start tearing down the gear and carrying it across. I'm going to take my time with it though. It's 9 o'clock and I'm not sure exactly how many miles I put out coming across the pond, but it had to be at least 3. And I only hit 15 today. So we should be doing fairly well. Your score, fellow was up there with the truck and helped me load my stuff up in his truck, and he's driving it down. So that saved me a hell of a lot of work today. Well, I'm on the other side of the dam, and the fella helped me get my kayak all the way down here. Still got to bring my gear down and get it loaded up, and we'll be out on the river. All right, my gear is all loaded up. Went a lot quicker because of the help of the construction workers hanging out, and I'm about to get back on the water at Alcona Dam Pond. I'm very grateful that they helped, because that would have taken me a lot longer. But now we got about 4 miles out of the way, and we got about 10 to 11, I think, approximately to go before our campsite today. And given the time, it's doing incredibly well. So I'm going to make a lot of stops, especially considering I haven't eaten breakfast yet today. Probably the next landing or pull off, I'm going to pull off there. I grabbed my fire maple out and of my gear, so I don't have to unpack it later. And gonna make breakfast once I find the next port or landing. Kind of just let this take me for a while, which is pretty much what I'm probably gonna do. It doesn't seem to be moving that fast, but being that it's like not even 10 o'clock, and well, it's not even 10 o'clock. Depending on which one of my friends may or may not be watching this, they might get a laugh out of that. But it's not even 10 o'clock. So anyway, it's going to turn us around. Looks like it's spinning us around. I don't give a shit. But I was having some funny thoughts as I was crossing the pond, and it was really just taking me forever, and I was having a really tough time, and just kept going, trying to beat as much of the wind that was coming as I could. And I kind of felt like I was Forrest Gump, you know. One day, for no reason at all, I decided to start paddling down a river. And I didn't stop for 1 whole week. Yeah, so I've decided, I'm sure a lot of my friends didn't know this, but I am a funny guy. Like, I make jokes and they are hilarious. But, obviously. Oh, man. I am going to just drift along for a while here. You're going to see the other side of Alcona Dam. This section of the river I have never been on, but in many areas I've crossed over it or had scenic outlooks, but I'm gonna have some uncharted territory. It's not as early in the morning as I would have liked it to been, but I did see some really interesting wildlife that on the pond and some of the kind of flatlands area where there's a lot of grass sticking out of the water. I crossed an area, I couldn't tell what they were, but they were these fish that were going through. It's like, you know, maybe 5 foot deep water and a lot of grass, just grass that's, you know, like up almost to the, growing almost up to the top of the water. And it was hard to paddle through, but these fish were there jumping all over the place, and I was seeing them left and right. I mean, they were easily 1.5 feet long, easily. I'd have no idea what they were. They weren't walleye, and they weren't pike. They were too wide. They might have been some kind of carp. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't have expected the carp to be out in the grassy areas. I couldn't really get a good look at them, and there was no way for me to get any footage of them. I was really just between the wind and the grass that was around me, and being afraid to get stuck in an area that I ran up on a sandbar, like I did crossing Mayo. I just didn't want that to happen, so I just kept paddling on and didn't want to stop to, you know, pick up my camera. Again, with the selfie stick / tripod that I had bought that broke day 2. I would have been able to film more. I'm one-handed paddling here just to keep straight. But I'm gonna take a minute and get my kayak back out in the middle, and I'm gonna see if I got any phone service in a little while too. Well, I might be spinning back around, but I've been drifting backwards for a while. Makes sense that the minute I decided to start filming it, I'd turn forward. But I haven't really paddled at all again. I'm not moving as quick as I was. Yesterday or the day before on Mayo, or on the area between Mayo and Mayo Dam and Elkona Dam. That was just unreal how fast I was going without paddling. And it's also not quite as wide, so it looks like I'm gonna have to kind of pay attention a little bit more from time to time. Speaking of which, there's stuff coming up. Oh, look, I'm getting pushed out in the middle already. Never mind, I don't need to worry about it. Curious what I might see this morning, but I think I might be too late on the river to hit the wildlife. Beyond the geese and the ducks. Those we got a little dragonfly here. I don't know if I got him on film. He saw the camera and left. Like I was mentioning before, it is really just easy part of a trip once you get back on the river. I'm just doing a lot of floating, not a lot of paddling. I'm getting pushed into a little bit of a dead spot here, so I better get back over. All right, I'm at Bobcat Creek parking lot. I docked my kayak and came walking up this hill. It mentioned that it had parking, and I thought it said it had a bathroom here. So I do not see one. So I'm going to assume that I looked at it wrong. This is a well-used like tube and kayak and canoe launch for some of the local, I know Alcona County Canoe or Alcona Canoe Rental and Tubing. They launch a lot of their trips from here. You definitely, if you have a heavier kayak, really doesn't matter if you have a cart, because this is what you're looking at to get down to the water. It doesn't really look like there's any other option around here. So very pretty views though. I don't remember, but well, I'm going to go down and cook some breakfast, and I'm going to sit here and enjoy it, and I'm going to have some coffee. I will try to figure out again how many miles I've went today already. Still hanging out here at Bobcat Creek. Very beautiful place. It would be kind of awkward for most people who were not doing a through paddle. Because Alcona, well, I mean, you could put in at Alcona Dam on the other side where I did, but it's not really, you know, a very conducive landing. People who through paddle do it because they don't really have a choice. But here, well, that sun's just getting in there. Here, it's about 2 miles from the Alcona Dam from where I put back in. And it's a very nice place. You can drive up, obviously, and it's an easy little walk down to the water, I would say. If you're just out in the area and you just want a quiet, peaceful place where you're probably not going to run into too many people, this is a good, easy place to come and walk down to the water. You can see, you know, there's some shallow areas, and it's moving kind of well, but you could always, you know, walk into the water for a little while and enjoy yourself and maybe have a little picnic. But do bear in mind there are no restrooms here. I'm pretty certain I looked at my river guide wrong. I thought there would be. But that is irrelevant. I did my major business actually before I left camp. You know, that's part of the thing that people don't talk about on these trips. You're going to have to shit in the woods, so come prepared for that. This morning I thought, well, I can get up and paddle across Alcona Pond and make it to Alcona Campground, which is midpoint, and there's some outhouses, and it was very quickly that I realized that wasn't going to happen. So I did my business at camp and dug a hole and buried it pretty well. And I think when I get to camp today, one of my first orders of business after setting up tent is to find a place that I'm going to dig a hole that'll be ready for the morning. Because, like I said, be prepared. You're gonna shit in the woods. It's not the worst thing, it really isn't. It's definitely one of the parts of this trip that if you can avoid it, you do it as much as possible. But sometimes you're not going to. When such fine breakfasts as biscuits and sausage gravy from Peak Refuel, and some instant Starbucks coffee there, which I'll be enjoying here in a few minutes as soon as the biscuits and gravy are ready. And you know, when I opened up the pack from my mom that did ask, yes, there are real biscuits in there. We'll see. I know I had some real biscuits in the bison bowl, I think it was, the other night. But I don't think she realized that one said it had biscuits. She saw this pack and said, when I was packing up, and she said, do those actually have, they can't really have biscuits in them, do they? And the Mountain House one I had little balls that were like of dough, but when it all came down to it, it ended up just tasting like mashed potatoes, buttery mashed potatoes with pieces of sausage in it and gravy, where this one legitimately had a couple big pieces of biscuits. So I'm going to turn off the camera here and see if my food is ready and get along with it. Finished up my breakfast and decided to just take my coffee and finish it as I was going along. I looked at my river guide and I was wrong. There are no bathrooms listed at that campsite or at that pull-off. There is another one coming up in about, I don't remember, 4 miles, but that one also has no restrooms. So back to my original statement, sometimes you're gonna shit in the woods, and because I will not see anything today other than national forest campsites along the river that are all drive-in or boat-in and do not have restrooms. And other than that, I will also see a couple boat launches that don't have them. They just have parking and access to the water. I might stop at one of them and see if I'm anywhere near any kind of store. I know these days there's Dollar Generals fucking everywhere, so I might be near one when I hit a boat launch. If I can see one in a distance, I might walk over there and pick up a few more snacks than what I have. I have a decent amount left, but definitely been eating more snacks while I've been moving along the river and not having as many of the meals that I packed. So that's another thing for me to remember for the next time I do something like this. More snacks, less meals. To get a footage of those rapids coming up. Got some kind of staircase over here on the right. Back that way, and it is just really windy out here. There's a really large rock creating a lot of rapids, and I came very close to hitting it. And I think if I would have not been able to steer around it, and I think that one would have put me over. It's not under the water enough, but it's under the water. So looks like that must be, no, it's that's federal site 17. That can't be. I need to get over there and look. I got out for a minute and checked my river guide. That was not Camp 17. I couldn't pull into it either. I was moving so fast. It would have been Camp 12. I'm at 18, which is actually still about 9 miles away, I think. So, man, switch the camera around, but it really doesn't seem like it from here, but out on the water, it is, it's taking you in every which direction, and not down a good solid path. It keeps us very twisty and windy, and there's a lot of big rocks under the water that sneak up from nowhere, that you don't really catch unless you're really watching. I was gonna, when I launched from Bobcat, I thought I got my fishing pole ready, thought I was gonna start doing some fishing through here, but for right now, this is an area that I think I'm going to have to pay attention to what the river's doing, or I could end up capsizing. See, this is what I'm talking about here. It is just it's something else out here. See, and now I'm hitting bottom. That's crazy. Like, I had to stay in the middle here to avoid all that shit. But this is the shallowest part. Alright, I'm going to stop filming so that I don't get stuck. Footage of this before I get into it. I mean, look at, there's just more and more whitecaps I keep running into today, and the wind surely is not helping me out. A couple deer up there having a drink of water. I think they see me now, though. Oh, you hiding from me, Mr. Raccoon? Yeah, it's okay. I know, I threw rocks at your buddy up the river yesterday. I won't do that to you. I've been needing a minute to get out and kind of stretch my legs and think for a minute. And I saw all this rocky area, and thought I can put in up there for really easily. And I ran upon this, and this is not a designated campsite in the national forest, but clearly it's been used, and looks like recently somebody left a little ribbon there, but and their sock. Let's see how warm this. Now, those ashes are not warm at all, so there hasn't been anybody here in a minute. When I was at Meadow Springs yesterday, or the day before, and I went to start my fire that night, the ashes in the pit were still a little warm, and so I could tell that fire had been lit the night before. So it was nice to stop for a minute. I'm going to try to figure out how much further I have before some landings, and then if that might be where I pull over again. But until then, I did just pass campsite 16 already. It's really only been another 10 minutes or so since I been back from where I found that other dispersed campsite, and already here I am. Wow, man, some of the obstacles through here are pretty intense. That was so I'm going to stop filming, but I'm going to get over to the left side and stay there, because I've got about 1.5 miles from the marker that I just saw before I see my camp. So I'm going to need to keep my eyes peeled. I have ended up at the beginning of what is the shore-to-shore horseshoe camp or something like that. I can't remember what it was called. So my site, I was wrong. I passed 17 just a few minutes ago. It was on the other side of the river, and there was a marker. So I should be coming up to mine before long. I saw this pull off and thought maybe it was it, but it is not. It's the shore-to-shore horseshoe camp. And my giveaway was, well, these things right here in the sand. You don't see that very often. So they must have brought their horses up here to get a drink before continuing on. It was actually really difficult to paddle over here. I had to get out and walk and pull it through this. It's not really a sandbar. I mean, it's kind of the beginning of one, but it's still from where this creek is coming in. It's just the water's pushing so fast that to try to paddle up to this, it just was not happening. But I got out and walked her in, and good news is I probably shouldn't have to do too much to get it back out into the water, because it's going to want to take me. And before long, my campsite should be coming up on the right side. My camp might be right around that bend. Let's see. There we go. Now we're recording. Been debating it in my mind for a while. We had a dilemma and a little bit of a problem. We missed site 18. I'm at site 19, which is boat access, and site 20 is right next to it. However, there's also a 2-track that leads right up through here so I'm sure people can come back here later that are driving, so it would be easier for them to access this much later in the day if they're not here already. I had thought about staying here, and if someone showed up, taking off and going to the next sites. But after site 20, which is just a little ways past here, the next one that I will see is a very, very long ways up, is about 4 miles up. And then after that, every few feet, every little while, there's another one, because they're all on Loud Dam and they're all boat-in access. So it's going to take me at least an hour and a half to get there, especially because the river's not moving as fast here. So I'm going to get going. I'm going to get out to one of those sites, and the first one that no one is at, I'm going to pull in and stay there until I won't set up. I'll wait. I'll stay there until unless somebody shows up, and then I'll paddle across to the other one, and hopefully that doesn't end up being a problem. Still crossing Loud Dam Pond. It's been about an hour and 15 minutes since I left that site 19, and I had about 4 miles or so to start seeing the first boat-in campsites up this way, and I don't think I've quite done that yet, but we've made good progress, I guess, despite all the odds. The wind and the current is finally moving with me. If you're not familiar, once you get on these ponds, it's hard to, there's not really the river current that you can follow that well. Sometimes you can. For the most part, you just hope that it's still and that there's not a lot of wind, and if there is wind, that it's in your favor and it's helping take you the way that you need to go. It really has not been the majority of this trip on this pond, and it certainly was not this morning on Elkona Dam Pond. I did not plan on crossing this one. A little sand dune up there ahead. I did not plan on crossing this one this afternoon. At least best way to think about it is tomorrow will be a lot easier. The wind and the current are in my favor right now, so I'm taking a much needed break, because when you're out here, like I said, when you're on these ponds, if you have a direction that you need to go, and you really can't stop paddling for long without going ashore and taking a break, because it just blows you way off course, way back. It'll send you back the way you come, and it's about the only spot in a river that you'll encounter that is on ponds, on the dammed pond area. So it's really bad. The hat almost blew off. But again, that is help to me, because it's taken me the way I need to go, and I did need to take a little bit of a break. So we're also going to start watching the shoreline here to see if we see any of these campsites. So I'm going to get off this right now. It's a really good thing these waves and this wind is in my favor right now, because earlier when it was pushing back the other way, it was not quite this bad. But if it got this bad, I don't know if I'd be getting any further, because I'm moving pretty good that way now without even really paddling, which again, I had to take a break. Been going for a minute. I'm going to try to pull in over that way. I think I should start seeing some of the campsites. Alright, So, very second one that I got to, no one was at. 21 had a couple camps set up on it, or tents set up on it. This is 22. And give you a look around. Also, these were all very well marked. Very nice looking little area. Decent looking fire ring. Good shade. However, not gonna set up my tent for a while yet. I'm gonna see, make sure no one shows up and tells me I gotta go. And if I do, then I'll have to just pull along to the next one. And if a ranger shows up and tells me I gotta go, I'm gonna tell him to fuck off. But if anything else, I'll give him some money and tell him to shut up. Because I've made a lot of mistakes on this trip so far. However, I'm pretty certain missing that campsite was not my fault. I have spotted every single one that was river access only. The river access ones have markers out by it, even the ones that are boat in and drive in or hike in have markers on both aspects. I did not see a single marker for site 18 anywhere. I spotted 19 and 20 right away, and then it was of course 4 more miles to get to 21 and 22. But again, it was crossing the ponded area of the river, and until recently the wind was not in my favor at all, and my shoulders are actually really killing me. So right when I was thinking, man, it's almost 7 o'clock, I could probably easily start setting up camp by now. I'm sure nobody's coming. Right at that moment, guy in a motorboat with his kid, well, teenager, maybe 19, come around, and it was their lot. We had a discussion, and they were really nice people. They weren't really definitely trying to make me leave, but they were actually with the people that were on the first lot, which was a ways up. That they weren't there when I went by, but they got back later. So that was lot 22. I moved up to lot 23. This is probably one of the things that, like I said, I am gonna. I actually tried to make good and call the facility, and I couldn't. I got through to a voicemail, and it said, "We'll call you back." So, because I was going to ask them, what's open over here, and even off, like see if I could pay, even though I'd paid for 18, and or switch it, one of the two. I tried to go online and see what was available, but I couldn't get service for the site. But I moved up to the next lot, which is probably another, I don't know, quarter mile maybe tops up the water. And I'm there now, and I'm still going to wait a little while before I try to set anything up or bring, even because this one's a little steeper of a hill, so I'm going to wait before I bring anything up. But my tent goes up really fast and really easy. I don't expect to have a campfire, I don't think, tonight. I have some view. And the sun comes up kind of in that direction. Tomorrow, all I got to do is paddle right around that corner up there, and that's where the dam is, and the portage. And we'll get up and over that, and then I'll come down and get back in the water and go through 5 Channels Dam, because that's where it starts immediately. We'll see how that works out. There's a ridiculous amount of really big, I'm murking up the water now so you can't see them, but there's just a lot of really big snails everywhere I look in this water off of the back end of this campsite. The one that I ended up taking next is actually kind of tucked back in this little inlet from the pond. So that part's kind of nice. Seeing all these snails, there's another one right there. A whole bunch more. The big one right there. Makes me think I should pick them up and take them home for my friend Paul. If he was here, that's what we'd be having for dinner, I think. So here comes another boat. This one's a canoe. I tell you, if they are coming to this site, I am going to lose my motherfucking mind. It really looks like they are too. Let's see. Hopefully they keep on going. They are really turning in this way. I am not having good luck at all. They straightened up a little bit. We'll check in a minute. It's really unreal that, like, literally after I crossed Elkona Dam and saw the construction workers help me out get over the dam, I saw one guy fly fishing in that whole stretch from Elkona to here, which was like about 15 miles. And now that I'm sitting here hoping that I can stay on this campsite, there's people just coming out of the woodwork at like 9 o'clock at night. Like, sun's going down soon. I wonder if these people are coming here or not. They're not far offshore. They're paddling in a canoe. I don't know what they're doing. That little guy, camera shy, he saw me and he said, I'm out of here. There's that turtle I saw earlier. He didn't see me up here. When I was down on the shore, he saw me. I tried to bring my camera out. He got right out of there. Yeah, he's just living his best turtle life. All right. Nobody's come by in a while. I'm assuming that means I'm okay. I've got a fire set up and ready to be lit. It's about 9 o'clock. Got my tent set up behind us. This is the view I'll see in the morning and the view I've got now. I kind of feel like I can finally relax. Not gonna lie, I've been stressing out for a very long time. When I was on the other site, I thought I was probably okay. And then right when I thought, oh, go ahead and set up the tent, that's when some people showed up. And I thought, you gotta be shitting me. But no. You know, this whole day has actually been a really tough one. there's been a lot of rewards, but this one has been a rough one. I was feeling in the beginning like, you know, how I was today, like I was becoming really acclimated to this, and everything was just kind of gelling, and then everything went sideways. You know, I thought, oh, I'm going to have a real easy day, and only 15 miles turned into another 19, and I've actually, you know, I finished it pretty quick, you know. I am fortunate for the guys who helped me get my kayak over the portage, the last dam. I have 2 of them to do tomorrow, but I have a short amount of miles now. So that's the bright side, is today's mishaps has made tomorrow very, very easy. And I'm going to hope that my campsite tomorrow is very easy to find. This one that I'm on wasn't the hardest, but it I just kind of like followed the map. The marker was actually around back in like a little inlet, like back here where that water is, right on the other side of this peninsula. The marker was there. But there also is one up on shore here. So if you were to come up this hill where there's nothing marked, there's one up here. I'm curious if there was something like that I missed for 18. I know the fella that I spoke to on the other lot said that 18 is pretty hard to find because it's up on a hill. Yeah, hopefully tomorrow's lot is a lot easier to find. And I'm going to walk down that hill right now until it gets a little darker and try to do a little bit of offshore fishing. Haven't really had any luck with that off of any of the sites. Haven't had any luck with fishing since I left the northern, right after Mayo Dam, when I was catching some trout up there, but then I stopped because of, well, I stopped. All right, we'll check in once we get the fire lit. Walking around here, just for a good place to try to fish, and right when I came around this corner right there was a huge turtle. I guess, you know, maybe you'd consider it a tortoise. I don't know if they're considered that in here, if they're just big snapping turtles, but you can see the imprint he left in the sand. He was not small. Just got some very shaky footage of either a beaver or a woodchuck, not really sure which. Oh man, I hear a freaking boat off in the distance with a motor. If that sucker's coming here, I'm gonna lose my mind. But got the fire going. There was a couple pieces of wood left over here from probably whoever was here last time, and I collected a good amount of kindling. There was no left burnt wood or partially burnt wood here, but a couple pieces of regular wood, and they're going up quick. Man, I found a lot of, like, not really bark, but just like remnants of chips of wood. I think you could tell from where the National Forest people had probably cut up trees, and they threw that were here before, and they threw some of threw a bit of piles of it around the other trees that are still standing. So it was almost like wood chip mulch, and I collected a bunch of that from around the camp. That's just kind of scattered around, and piled it into the center of the fire, and it is really making it. hot. I had to move back quite a ways. But if you do come to these campsites here on Loud Dam, you have a fire ring, obviously, that has a little metal grate that you can actually throw out and cook over. So that makes some things a little bit easier. All in all, this is a pretty nice site. Kind of lucky to be able to be here, I guess. Yeah, no lie though. Today challenged me, but it wasn't actually, you know, I got across the dam and that was pretty tough and I was pretty beat. I crossed 2 dams today or actually ponds, dam ponds, excuse me. I got to cross the dam for this one tomorrow, and I'll do 2 dams tomorrow. But I'm pretty much all the way across this pond. I can see the dam off in the distance, and I have a hard time believing it'll take me a half an hour, unless the water's really wavy, to get to it. Maybe 45 minutes tomorrow. And I do plan on tomorrow, I'm probably going to be out of here as early as possible and just plan to maybe do like I did yesterday, find a place to stop pretty quickly after, maybe right on the other end of the portage before I put in, and make myself some coffee, have some breakfast, and just do it that way. I do like this site, but given all the turmoil of not really supposing to be here, I'd rather just get out sooner than later.